Airbnb, something like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm with a bunch of people. This is Amsterdam, so I'm thinking, man, I want to go find one of those coffee shops. That's what they call them, where you get weed from. They call them coffee shops there. You don't buy coffee there, though. It's kind of confusing. Nonetheless, so the friends I was with, they weren't really feeling it. We had just gotten into Amsterdam, probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they're like, we're exhausted. We're going to. I was like, all right, I'm going to go check out one of these coffee shops quick. So I go in. Just so you know, if you end up in a place like Amsterdam and you don't know what the etiquette is for going to these coffee shops, I do say you should learn, because I was made a fool of. So if you can imagine somebody like me, still had the mullet, sounding just like he's straight out of bumfuck nowhere, Oklahoma. Go in there, I'm like, hey, I want to buy some weed. And they're like, okay, I can't do an act. What do you want? I'm like, I want an eighth. And they kind of rolled their eyes at me, and they're like, okay. Because I guess people don't buy joints. They film themselves in the coffee shop. So they kind of give me this toot, and, I go up to pay with my card. And they're like, sir, we don't take cards. We just do cash. And so, it's already kind of an embarrassing situation overall. But, I'm like, where's an ATM? I just got here. And they're like, just around the corner. So I'm strolling through this unknown part of Amsterdam. I don't know. It just felt real weird because all the buildings are real close to each other.
Right.
And the streets are real narrow. And so it's kind of like that doctor that's walking to the house in The Exorcist, how it's all dark and kind of gloom, steamy and stuff. It's for some reason just like steam's popping out of the damn sewer drains or whatever. And you're just kind of strolling and it's like, all right, well, fuck, I don't catch that. I'm like, I need to, go to the ATM coffee shop, give my cash, get it and everything. And so I light up in there, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, every single person just got up from their seat and just walked out the door. And so what? I'm smoking. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was just me being there or what, but I started getting kind of paranoid, right? Because this weed was real. It was real bomb, as they say. And so I'm smoking this joint. I get about halfway through it. I get this lady who's sitting there at the desk or behind the register. She's just dead eyeing me. I mean, I'm just like, I'm feeling all the feelings right now. I'm getting that paranoia going on. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna leave now. And as I'm walking out, I see that I'm there 15 minutes past close, which makes sense as to why everybody got up and left. And so, I go out there and I'm thinking, all right, man, I am stoned. I'm just absolutely cold. I mean.
How do I get back to that hotel?
Yeah, exactly. So, and mind you, the original walk was maybe like 10 minutes or so. It really wasn't that far, a couple blocks. And I walk out, and I'm like, I need to walk this off a little bit, maybe go get a drink or something, because I am just feeling it. And so I'm walking down these little narrow neighborhood roads or whatever, but like all the buildings are really weird, and and so I'm strolling through. I'm super. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, I bought a space cake too over at that shop too, right? So I have this space cake with me as well. I got an eighth of weed.
Hang on, time out. The hell's a space cake?
A space cake is, it's an edible. It's what it's just like a big brownie, but they're extreme. They're really strong, man. They are just potent. You get lost there. It's the kind of thing that you eat and you just start breaking down every physical element of everything that's kind of happening. You're watching a movie, you're just like, this is ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm walking, I don't know, the laws there, so I'm feeling super paranoid. I got a space cake in one pocket, eighth of weed and half a joint in the other pocket, and I'm just like, man, I got to go find a bar or something. So I'm just walking down these neighborhoods. I'm kind of searching, scoping out, trying to find the connective.
Are you alone?
Street. Oh yeah, I'm by myself. All my friends were like, we're gonna go to bed. They weren't really feeling up to it, so
they left when the coffee shop closed.
They were a bunch of pussies. No, they didn't.
They didn't even go to the coffee shop. I just went by myself.
They were a bunch of pussies.
I find this main road that leads back to the apartment thing, and I'm kind of walking. I remember there was a couple bars there on the corner, and so I'm still just strolling through. It feels like I've been out for an hour or two just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And finally, I find a bar, and it was just full of fans. I mean, there was a football, as they say, but a soccer game going on at every single bar that I went to. And I was just not feeling, I didn't want to be in a crowded place. I didn't want to be in an empty place. I was just like, man, I got to figure out where I'm going. So I decided to go ahead and head back to the apartment by this point. I've been out for a couple hours and maybe sobered up a little bit. And I'm walking up to the apartment, and I remember the person at the apartments were like, hey, don't bring any weed in here. You can do it out there, but just don't bring any to the apartment. So I got really nervous.
In Amsterdam?
In Amsterdam, yeah. And I was like, this was understood, but in my brain at this point, I was like, oh, man, I got to get rid of this weed. I'm going to get in trouble. We're going to get kicked out. So I hiked past the apartment, and I'm trying to find a trash can, any place that I can just put this weed and just like throw it. So I'm just like walking. Several blocks later, finally find this trash can, and I threw this, little container, the space cake, the joint, threw it in the trash can. I bolted. I mean, I took off from there, and I'm running. I finally get back to the apartment, and yeah, I just didn't. I was like Forrest Gump at that point. I was just running, and finally go up to the the buildings in Amsterdam are so narrow. And just so close proximity that when you walk up a flight, there's no flight of stairs. I mean, it is literally just a vertical stairwell. That's generally
like a ladder.
A ladder, but if it was a spiral ladder. So you're basically just tiptoeing up, just making it up. And we happen to be on the top floor of this building. So I go in. I'm trying to be quiet. Everybody... lights are out and everything. I can go in.
I'll bet 2 Men in a Truck hates that place.
Shut the door, and then put my stuff on the countertop. Everything falls off the countertop, just this loud noise, and I'm just freaking out. Well, I go over to the couch, and the next thing I know, I wake up. All my buddies are up and everything. They're like, "Hey, Donnie, how you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm good, guys. I'm sorry if I was out so late. I didn't mean to create a ruckus or nothing when I was coming back in." And they're like, out late? Donnie, you were gone for 45 minutes. We were awake the whole time. You just stumbled in and then just went to the couch and passed out. And I'm like, well, I'll be. That was pretty weird.
He thought he was walking them streets alone, singing the same old song.
Is that your weirdest high story, you think?
Oh no! I mean, I'm sorry. That one was pretty good. Because you have to imagine, man, in places like Denmark and the Netherlands, those people are just really intelligent, right? They're within surrounding countries, so they can speak, Dutch, French,
numerous
German,
languages.
I mean everything, and they can just switch back and forth. So if you're an American walking in there and you're just like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And so
they can just jump into English like that.
But when you walk around, you don't know, and you just kind of overhearing people talk. I mean, it is a weird phenomenon when you're just around people and you just can't understand them, especially when you're really high.
I'll tell you the weirdest high story I have. This was awesome. So it's one of my exes, and her and I are moving from one city in Colorado to another city. And we just happened to move into this complex of condominiums that a childhood friend of hers is also living. Now, this childhood friend has got a mess of brothers. She's got like 4 or 5 brothers. One of them has Down syndrome. Coolest kid in the world, man. Coolest kid in the world. So, and he's probably 20, 22 years old, somewhere in there at the time. So we kind of start running around with her. She's dating a guy that has just come back from deployment overseas. So he comes to me one night when we're hanging at the pool and is like, "Hey, man," he's talking like we're in a dark alley somewhere. His eyes are darting around, and he says, "You got any connects? Can you hook me up on some weed?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's make that happen, but don't tell my girlfriend." "All right, I got you." So a kid that worked for me at the time in the industry that I was working in, I knew that he was selling weed. Long story short, he sells me a quarter of White Elephant. So we go back on the next weekend. We're going to have a cookout. My girlfriend and his girlfriend, the two childhood friends, they take off to go to the liquor store to stock up for this barbecue. As soon as they pull out of the garage, he's like, "Yo, bro, let's get high." All right. So these condos, we've been left in charge of the young man that has. Let's call him John. So we've been left in charge of John. So I put John in front of the television. These condos, you go back in the master bedroom, they have these huge master bathrooms, and off of the bathroom there's a huge walk-in closet.
Right.
So we got John in front of the TV watching MTV videos or something. So we go in this bathroom and he's sitting in the closet area on this stool. My buddy is. He's telling me stories about being deployed, and we're smoking weed the whole time.
Right.
We effectively hotbox this bathroom. Well, after we're in there for a minute, a good while, he's like, "Yo, bro, we got to turn that fan on," which I don't know what that was going to do. But he was like, "We got to bounce. The girls are going to be back." When I stand up off of sitting on the side of the bathtub, the first thing I see is John has worked his way into the bathroom and is sitting on the countertop on the vanity, and he's taking in all this smoke. And I'm like, "Oh shit, we got a problem." So we get him out. I rush him out to the living room, and I put on a Disney movie because that's what he loves, man. That's his jam. He wants to watch Disney movies. So I put this Disney movie on, and we get him settled. We're standing in the kitchen. These floor plans are very open. There's no walls. So we're standing in the kitchen. About that time, the girls show back up. Well, they ran into some friends of ours at the liquor store, and they're going to have a party the next day. So they're very excited telling us about this party that's going to happen. Their back is to the living room. As they're telling us this story about this barbecue that's going to happen, John, first off, he's laughing at this movie hysterically. And his sister's like, "What is wrong with him? Like, he's seen this movie 1,000 times." And I'm like, "I don't know. He's just in a good mood, I guess." Well, as they continue to tell this story, John gets up and starts walking back and forth in the living room. They can't see him because their back's to him. And I start going, "Oh, God, what is he up to?" He goes to the corner of the living room and gets one of those giant exercise balls and rolls it out into the middle of the living room, lays down, like face down on it, and starts slowly humping it. And I'm like, "Oh, shit." Well, my buddy is staring me in the ear, trying to get me to look at him, and I will not look at him because, Jesus, oh, Jesus. Well, the force of this humping increases over time, and the exercise ball pops. Bam! It goes flat. He goes down on his face. Everybody turns around, looks at him now. The girl I was seeing goes over and picks him up, and as soon as she gets eye to eye with him,
she knows.
She knows. So she looks at me and she goes, "You got a retarded person high?" And the only thing you say is, "I didn't mean to. It was an accident." But dude, those balls are tough. Tough.
You pop one humping it. Did he at least get off?
Hey, that's his business. I wasn't going to ask him any questions, bro.
Questions. Who's on your shirt, Donnie?
This? Oh, this is
LeBron?
No. This is a hip hop.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Common.
Common
is one of the best spoken word poets ever, man.
That's true. It's
that dude's got skills, man. He'll throw some poems down that make you change your life.
Yeah, my most favorite high story is the one with you.
Oh, at Rocklahoma?
At the pre-Rocklahoma.
Yeah. That's right up there with the Down syndrome guy humping the ball.
I just, to have the thought of being able to explore the globe while it's turning, whilst it's pivoting around the sun, and to be able to feel all that movement,
all of it,
and then think about roller skate, dude.
I can honestly say that's the highest I've ever been. That night is the highest I've ever been.
Roller skates. What are you talking about? Roller skates.
Oh, tell the story, Titty.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have I